Hello, and welcome to Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name is Ian Horner, and I'll be your navigator through today's proceedings. Joining me today is
Alex.
And of course, we have trapped in the Crystal Gondola here in
Crystal Gondola? Is that what we're calling it?
That's what I'm naming it. The Crystal Gondola of Moonbase Mark 6, Paul Saunders on the 1 and 2s.
Hello.
And as always, this is a Let's Try program, which means we're just going to do stuff, see what happens, and hope it works out for the best for us. And if we're, well, it's not picture pages, so...
That's our disclaimer for we're going to screw stuff up. So
it is kind of...
Don't send letters.
It's really all about just not letting people expect that we are going to instruct them in anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's sort of like... it's a little bit like the nature of a makerspace, where it's just like a bunch of amateurs sort of teaching each other a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like that. But yeah, just not no expectations.
I will say it is kind of a pleasure when you get to be the expert for a moment. Mm-hmm. It's like someone posted that they were using the drill press and the chuck fell out. Mm. And they're like, is this normal? And I was like, yes and no. Yes, because it's like a taper fit and it's just held in by friction. And no, it shouldn't just drop out by itself. It probably needs a gentle persuasion with a soft hammer.
Something like that.
I feel like this thing fell off. Is that normal? The answer is almost never no. Or yes, I mean, I should say.
I don't know. What about like a Lancaster bomb bay?
Oh, geez. I mean, that's...
This thing fell off and it hit Germany.
perfectly normal, working as intended.
Like, works great.
But no, it must be nice to be able to help people out like that in situations.
Yeah, I dig it. Yeah. It's very fulfilling.
Good. Well, I mean, if you at home would like to feel fulfilled by helping people out, you can do so as well by helping us out over at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That's where you can go to automatically have money taken out of your credit card and given directly to us for a small fee to Patreon. That said, you can also support us in many other ways over at store.loadingreadyrun.com, and of course through your super thanks on youtube.com, and of course your bits and subs here at twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun. But again, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. It's you. You did this.
It's your fault.
Thank you. So yes, today is hobby night once again, and as per usual, Alex is back with his lunar guns of the Machine Krieger variety.
Yeah.
And I will continue to plug away at the Sturm Tyrann ZOID, which has seen some battle damage in the move, it looks like here.
I did tease you with a show and tell earlier.
You did, yeah. I'm curious what you got for us.
Super cool. Somebody from the chat came to visit me last weekend, and she got from, I believe it was from her grandfather, a couple of Johansson blocks.
Oh.
Otherwise known as gauge blocks.
Let's get
Just
those.
move those over slightly.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Wait, they can't both be one.
Yes, they can. They have different serial numbers.
Okay.
And that's important. The more I learn about precision machining, the more I think it's magic. So these are actually very important fundamentals to machining and precision in general, because what gauge blocks are is they're finely ground pieces of steel whose only role in life is to be exactly the size they say they are.
And I'm assuming they're very specifically not corrosion-resistant steel.
Yeah, these are what you use to check your micrometers and calipers and so forth. And what's cool about them is they have a strange quality that nobody's quite figured out accurately. And we'll see if I can do this without ringing fluid. So the surfaces
All have to be
are
extremely
so
flat.
lapped that if you ring them together, they adhere. And nobody quite knows why.
Don't like
There's
that.
theories about it.
Your David Blaine street magic.
They think it's like it might have to do
career
with
is on its
atmospheric
way.
pleasure. It might have pressure. It might be turns out Wilhelm Reich was right the whole time. But
yeah, those are not magnetic.
they're not magnetic.
Curious.
Like they're not magnetic to one another. Like they're made of steel, but they're not magnetic. And these probably aren't going to hold too hard, but if you get some ringing fluid, which is usually, I think, kerosene, you can take a bunch of blocks and make sure that they're nice and clean, and then you can ring them together. and you can assemble them together into arbitrary lengths, because these will come as a set of 1/2 inch, quarter, or like metric, whatever.
Right.
And you can assemble them into arbitrary lengths to be like, I need to check that this is exactly this kind of thing. So I wanted a pair of these just to have to do this, exactly this. And also the serial number is so that you can trace their provenance
Right,
back to the sort of like measurements and wherever they came from. I wish I'd brought the...
like for organic...
So do you have the info on this?
I do. I forgot to bring it, and I feel like an idiot, but it comes with a certificate saying, like, where it came from and what you can check it.
Which is legally binding, because you use these to calibrate your other machines, which then have to do precision measurement. It's like the chain of origin for organic food, but actually useful.
Yeah, exactly. What else was I going to say? Yeah, these also come in different grades, which I think is the same of surface plates, which are like this, only just a block of granite whose only role in life is to be really, really, really flat.
Accurately flat.
Like within millionths of an inch.
Love them.
And those also have different grades. Like there's grades that are like, this is fine for your workshop. There's one that's like, this is fine to check the tools you use in your workshop. And then there's one that's like, this is what you use to check the tool and die machines that make the tools that are used to check. Then there's like, NASA uses this or whatever. So
I've seen a couple of times those come up for sale, and they are
sorcery.
I was reading the news this morning and came across a headline of an article talking about a newly observed property of metal, which is that at the nanoscale, cracks can spontaneously just heal themselves.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, I mean, that might have something to do with what's going on here. It might
knows?
not. Who knows?
They just we go down to the nanoscale and there's little like steel hands shaking.
Yeah.
It's like it's made out of nano salarymen making deals. That's why it works. I don't think I brought anything especially exciting for tools, but I got some new CA glue.
Oh, that's my particular choice.
Yeah,
as well.
I feel like such a dum-dum because I got the ultra low viscosity thin stuff, and it was just a disaster all the time.
It's too thin.
Yeah, I spent the other night chiseling this formation off of my self-healing mat.
Yep.
Because it had appeared there. Oh, it sucked.
I've got a small paint bowl that I've been using for it, but
And complaining that your low viscosity glue is too runny seems...
Yeah, so
it's what it says on the label.
I know. It was like, oh, this did exactly what it was supposed to do, and it wasn't what I wanted.
I think I've shown you this before. It's a CA applicator. Ooh. And all it is, unfortunately this one is broken,
Oh.
but all it is a tiny, almost like a tuning fork at the end. And it
It
just
is broken.
Yeah, it just holds a little bit of CA at the tip.
How about that?
Let me take it down to the...
I doubt
you'll never be able to see it, but it's basically a pin that's been severed right down the middle.
Oh, I guess you could repair it that
So
way.
you can just have like a little bit of, due to,
Yeah, you could just-
surface
you could-
tension.
You could just take a pin and then take a Dremel wheel and
Maybe solder that on there.
yeah.
But
Maybe I'll make one of those.
I have found one that offers replacement tips, which is important for future. So that got cut up. The way to clean it is to wait for it to dry and then get a small #1, very sharp blade, and just cut through the middle.
Yep. Oh, the one thing I did forget was the lower half of a can of soda.
Oh, right for your dip tube.
That's fine. I'll just slosh it on. I'll figure out something.
Just drink your bubbly really fast.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
All right. So I love the JO blocks, which are fantastic.
Okay, if you want to learn more about this, there's a a YouTube channel called Machine Thinking, and one of their videos called Origins of Precision is one of the most fascinating things I've ever watched, because it talks about like, where did precision come from? And I'll leave it up to the video, because it's just like, we went from like like 1800s, where there's like hundreds of thousands of competing units of measurement, to standardization, and then distribution of standardization, and then
refinement
of standardization.
Yep.
And then every sort of order of magnitude of precision
Yep. Every time they can make something more precise, it's
begets
like
an entire new industry, basically.
It's one of the episodes of Connections, one of my favorite series, also deals with that as well, and it's fascinating.
The great thing about gauge blocks is there's a bunch of YouTube various YouTube videos by various, sort of science, entertainment YouTubers that are like, let's find out how gauge, people who have vacuum chambers and different.
Yeah, will they stick in a vacuum chamber? Do they?
Well, yep.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, demon magic!
The end result seems to be that it's what keeps them together is like a combination of a bunch of different stuff. So it's like no one thing.
That's just
basically,
the weirdest.
if you try to isolate any particular aspect of it, it doesn't help. It still works.
So spooky.
I still need to source myself for some of the 1, 2, 3 blocks used.
Yes, I reclaimed my 1, 2, 3 blocks.
Oh, fantastic.
They were on loan to Makerspace, and I decided to take them back because I got a poor man's surface plate.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I went dumpster diving at, well, I asked permission, but there was like a granite tabletop surface place.
Yeah.
And they have a bin just full of chunks of offcuts that are no good to them, but they have like pieces that are like perfect. And like, they aren't super precise, but I think they're easily good enough for me to make markings
For the
with.
level of precision you're working with. That's,
Yeah, like
that's more than
model
enough.
kits. I finished cleaning up my universal surface gauge as well.
Ooh.
Brown and sharp,
Universal, you say?
Yeah, actually, we will see that on Saturday
Perfect.
with the video.
Right.
Yeah, tune in on Saturday.
Right,
You won't regret it. Where the hell am I?
That's the words that were coming out of my mouth.
I think I'm on insulation fin, or maybe. Oh wait, okay. So I did this part. Yeah,
Tail.
that looks finished.
I
Yes,
was on, I think, 4 legs.
part's done. So C21 and C20.
This is always the most difficult part of the thing. Oh no, I did do the forearms already, somewhat. Because
Oh
this
wait,
is
I did this one as well. So insulation fin is.
Got to go back and watch the end of the last.
Yeah, that's
right.
TTSF.
in essence the way we need
That's
to actually do
complete.
this
Okay,
here.
is walking stabilizer done? Doesn't look
Right.
like it. So this is C10.
This goes here because we have the fun little input at the top. Yep, there we go. That cracks into place. It's a sound you want to hear.
Here we go. I'm so glad that I started using these.
Oh, the little parts organizers? Yeah, I need to get into that too.
30. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is like,
Head good.
here we go. I think I had these parts. So this was C30, and I had.
How about I do it?
Goober Wing Dabber. 29. Okay, parts 28 and 29 have been cut out and are somewhere.
Next time I have a hobby night, I think that we need to actually get our models out before we start the show.
Well, I mean, this is part of the process.
It truly is. I mean, I tend to. I don't know how you. I don't know how you live. To
You don't want to know.
To quote the upcoming Ghibli film, but Yeah, I generally just take over the entire kitchen table for most of the building
I see. Okay, so
process.
this is already being put there. I do woodworking in my kitchen. The only reason why is because I live in a carpeted apartment,
Yep, that'll do it.
and it would be stupid for me to.
Yeah, woodwork over carpet.
Yeah,
I
that's
have-
just a disaster.
I mean, in the previous moon base, we've cut some pieces of wood even over top of these carpet tiles that we have here.
It's no good.
No, it's not even once. I think we would have even still been picking bits of sawdust out of the carpet. Okay, I think I'm on 51, which means I need the O runner.
So this is perplexing, because look at that. Okay, so there's this subassembly here, which is that, and then this one, and there's 2 holes there,
Yep.
and it says to put that onto there, but then this is just loose. Do they mean here? I'm going to leave
seems
that
normal,
unassembled
but-
until it tells me to.
Yeah, that's one of those times where I go back to the box and say, what's this supposed to end up looking like?
Oh, I think they're lying. Yeah, look, see, like,
Yeah, that seems centered.
okay, so yeah, they were just telling a dirty fib. So it does actually.
Remember, every once in a while they put in a tricky just
Yeah, it's like
just to make sure you're paying attention.
the whatchamacallit, like Aleister Crowley, who did those alchemy books and would leave like booby traps.
Oh, okay. That's a little more vindictive than the idea of, well, only God may be perfect, so this mortal manual must be imperfect.
Or it's like the fake streets that they put onto maps
Trap streets, yes.
to see if somebody has been copying them.
Those are my favorite.
That's really good. Okay. So I'm gonna leave those there for a minute.
Have you ever found a trap street on a map that you are quite sure is not supposed to be there?
I feel like you wouldn't hear from us ever again if that was true.
I don't think Rand McNally has that kind of a hit squad, but I've been wrong before.
I was wrong once. It was terrible.
Don't recommend. 018.
Now I kind of love the idea that it's not just that the street doesn't exist in reality; it's that it is literally a trap. Like you go to the where you thought that street was, and it's like a dead end, and some thugs from Red McNally come
Or
out
like
of the
it's
shadows.
just spikes.
Hey, boss, we got another one who thinks that this street's here.
Someone doesn't know the local geography.
Why don't you introduce him to the part on the map that nobody draws?
I'm a tourist in your town, and I'm simply looking for a subway.
I got your subway right here.
Did you hear that Quiznos is coming back?
I did not.
They're bringing back their annoying mascots.
Great.
Did Quiznos ever really leave us?
I mean, as a Quiznos fan, sadly, yes, for far too long.
What? To be honest, I never actually knew what the difference between Quiznos and Subway was.
Oh, the big difference was they say it's just the toasting process, but it was the way it was toasted too. They had one of the bigger pizza style ovens. You pass the bread through over a certain amount of time.
They were ever so slightly more hoity-toity.
Yeah.
Right, but then Subway did figure out how to toast stuff themselves.
Yeah. Cheese and toasted? Can I have one or the other?
Okay, so now transmission armor. C1 and C2.
The oil pan?
Sure. Oh man, I would love. Have you ever watched Just Rolled In?
No.
It's so funny. It's this channel that's nothing but little clips of footage narrated with, like in a garage, narrated with what the customer said. Oh. It's like customer reports like rattling noise, and they like find a bunch of loose change or something.
It's never anything real. It's just consumers.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's something horrible, like their engine coolant reservoir is full of Cheese Whiz or something. Like some of them are absolutely bonkers. You know, it's just like his axle was held together with
Right.
zap straps or something.
Yeah. Any thing that starts with customer states.
Yeah.
Customer states, why did you let them do that?
Like the unholy schmeng that they drain from people's coolant reservoirs
Oh,
is just,
God, I can believe it.
it's like demon sauce.
Seen some wonderful oil pans that have just been removed, and it's like a Jello mold inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Or little bits of very important bits
Yeah.
of the like important parts of the engine have been turned into very small pieces and are now somehow in the oils.
So one of the accessories you can buy for the Austin Mini is a magnetic oil reservoir bolt.
Okay.
The idea being that it will attract any bits of metal that have been made in the engine inadvertently. And this is because specifically the Mini shares an oil reservoir between the transmission and the engine.
Okay.
So if you end up grinding your gears too hard, you definitely want to be keeping that.
You know, I heard that this is the major difference between American and British cars. Like, American cars burn gasoline and lubricate with oil. British cars burn oil and lubricate with beer.
I mean, that sounds about right. I had never come across the term total loss lubrication system until I started working with British bikes.
What the hell does that mean?
Well, it means that the oil will eventually be totally consumed. That the oil is not
To where?
the engine, the road. It goes places.
Okay.
You just don't you don't intend to retrieve any of it.
All right.
Total loss. 10 and 11.
And that's actually how the system is built to function.
Yeah, so you need to be very aware of your oil. Not at all times, but basically every time you fuel up, you probably want to check the oil levels.
I guess it's sort of how, like, the Trabant would work. Although, maybe not.
I love calling it the angel's share of the oil.
Yes.
The sacrificial
Beautiful.
portion. 22.
Apparently magnets and in gas tanks and engines are extremely common. I guess it's just because it's a aftermarket part that I was surprised by it.
I guess that it's like a like a fuse or surge suppressor or on your electricity. It's like, yeah, it's only going to come into play if something is going wrong anyway, but it will stop things from going even more
guess.
wrong.
It really sounds like Tony Stark's, like, heart splinter stop a machine.
That movie would have been a lot. That whole series of movies would have been a lot shorter if he just like started wearing a magnetic medallion all the time.
50.
Went down to Tony's and got the biggest, gaudiest magnet I could find and put it on a chain.
Alex, could you just move your? Not that we're not currently sponsored, although we would be open to discussions.
Yes.
I should have brought coasters. Oh well.
Please contact us, Michael Blueblay. Here you go.
Who was not actually affiliated with it at all,
Well, he.
now has
Yes.
some.
Yeah.
But now has actually like involved himself in it. I think he actually has like an interest, like a commercial interest in the company now, even though it was
Well, they
just
were,
a joke to
they were at
begin
least doing an ad campaign.
with. Yeah.
I appreciate the term though. Involved himself with it. Like he just showed up one day and said, "Hey."
Well, it was like they made the thing, and then everyone was joking about it, and then it was just sort of like, okay, well, let's make the joke real.
And it turned out to be a success. Okay, I can now connect pieces together. Thankfully, they're properly marked. So this goes into, make sure I've got the right direction here. And that's the same. goes into that hole. All right, and then on the end of that, we have, ooh, that piece. Ah, I've created a sub-arm, I think.
Awesome. I love sub-assemblies.
Sub-arm.
So these are for like little T-Rex grabby arms, eh?
Well, we've got the grabby arms right here already.
Oh wait, so this is a second?
Yeah.
Wait, it has 2 sets of arms?
I don't know what this attaches to. Well, that hence sub-arm. But,
Ooh.
well, that changes a lot of things about my opinions of this here robot.
Oh, I see. Okay, so both of these C15s interface with the coil spring.
I feel like maybe this has been done in an anime, but I would love the idea of a mech anime where the mechs are built from enormous kits, and they use a big mech in order to be large enough to just like assemble the pieces from
The otaku would love it.
from like a giant manual that they have that they have to they have to use like big robot systems to turn the pages in the giant manual.
I'm afraid your gym isn't powerful enough to handle these beam cutters that we've got here. They slice right through the metal of the sprue like butter.
Yeah, everything arrives on like this, on like a huge like helicarrier. It's just like this giant like titanium sprue.
The merch tie-in just writes itself.
Like I think, honestly, I think that Gundam Build Fighters or Gundam Build Divers did something like that. But
I'm doing something very peculiar here, where I am adhering parts before trimming them from the sprue.
yeah, that's an interesting choice.
Well, I can use this as a jig because otherwise, like, I'll be cutting off these little fiddly bits. Actually, if we can get a close-up on that. I don't know if I can lower it.
I'll give me a second. I'll take care of that for you.
Boing. Just a little bit higher.
I have a feeling building a pan-tilt zoom solution may be in our future.
Ooh. There you go. So you see those parts sticking out.
Oh, okay.
I've glued those in place.
Oh, okay. They're springs.
Well, you just thought I was going to break it?
I was just, how much force are you putting on that?
Like,
So those
10
are
or-
actually just like little.
they're actual springs.
But the piece in the sprue is just a little collar at the end.
Yep. So that's going to attach to the hull.
Are those supposed to be little antennas or something?
I think they might be hoses that connect elsewhere.
That's been my experience with springs so far.
Yeah, hoser.
Oh, take off.
We are moving on to sprue Ka. Get in the Ka, losers. We're going spruing.
Spruka.
Spruka. This is going to be weird. Hang on.
Oh, that's Zed.
Yeah, this will work. I think. Just need to dry that off a bit.
Z, X.
This is a
Bring
trick
these up here.
I learned from Adam Savage. Thanks, Adam.
How to cut a can?
Yeah.
No,
that's-
you'll see in a second. I've done this on previous Tinker Tailors.
I recall you doing this, but
I should just slice my finger off and say that Adam Savage taught me that too.
Yes. Oh,
Have I told you my relationship with number 11 X-Acto blades
no.
from like childhood?
Did
So
they,
my dad has been a model builder pretty much all his adult life. And when I was a kid, I was, of course, fascinated with everything that he was doing. And he cautioned me very, very clearly about the dangers of the number 11 hobby blade, which is the sort of like, it's the kind of poster child for hobby knives. It's
Right, just the
like,
standard like
yeah, that.
X-Acto knife.
This is called the number 11. There's a bunch of them, but like this is just, you know,
Yeah, that's like a it's like a standard.
the
X-Acto
regular
blade.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very useful. So he warned me that they're very sharp and very pointy. And one day, I don't know if he followed a trail of like blood drops or if he just like found me sort of cowering in a corner, like just covered in blood.
No.
Because what had happened is I had like ever so slightly nicked myself, you know, like a tiny thing. And then I had sat there, you know, consternating over what was going to be worse, you know, telling my dad that I disobeyed him and made a mistake, or bleeding to death.
Yeah, no, that's I've been there. Yeah, that's a tough question.
I know, it's just like, what do we do? Anyhow.
Are number 11 blades like more dangerous than other razor blades?
I don't think so. I mean, they're really pointy.
Is it just that they're more common?
I think that's probably the big issue. I have seen your dad's can o spent blades.
Yeah.
You go through a lot of them, and if you go through a lot of them, you end up having a lot of them around.
And a blade that is no longer sharp enough to be a good modeling blade is still plenty sharp.
Yeah, there's also not a lot of useful things you can do with them. At least I don't think so. There's some people who have made Damascus out of like spent hobby blades.
That's an interesting idea.
So many.
Yeah, you need a lot of them.
Ooh.
I mean, the sort of like meme end of blacksmithing YouTube is like, we make Damascus out of safety pins.
Cool. One of the interesting pieces of technology I'd recently been made aware of is a company that's trying to market a set of nippers for model making.
Okay.
That is single blade, again, like the God Hand, but the cutting blade is held in with a couple of set screws so that you can replace the blade.
Okay,
It
I'm
eventually
interested.
becomes- Yeah, apparently it's become popular enough that it is impossible to pre-order anymore.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. It's like I briefly had the idea in my head that I would obtain a Machine 56 art helmet until I realized that like the nanosecond a new set goes on sale, they disappear. They also cost like $700.
What's the appeal of the art helmet?
I mean, you look like a robot from an anime.
Okay, I mean that's yeah.
They look really, really cool.
Can't fault the rule of cool.
They've also got some pretty neat apparel that also makes you look like a robot from an anime.
Oh, we're back to O.
Meep, 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 meep. Boing, 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 boing.
Ooh, I like that.
So I imagine at some point these are going to connect to something.
Right, yeah.
I like the way they kind of stick out at the moment, though, like a bug antenna.
Yep.
O15 and O12.
I wonder, I guess they're flexible because they're going to be connecting to something
exactly.
that moves.
I've seen use of those springs with little metal beads that you string on top of the spring, and that makes look for. It gives it more of a segmented pipe look.
Okay, now where the hell is this supposed to fit? C23. There is no surface on which to mount this. What the hell? Okay, see that C23, this.
Just glue it anywhere, I guess it says.
Fine. I bet you, like anything, the next step, they'll just be like, oh, actually, that was really important to put in exactly this spot. Oh, that looks correct. Just the best kind of correct.
Yes.
Okay, so C27 and 28.
Shoot.
Okay.
I probably wasn't supposed to do that one yet. That's
Whoopsie doodle.
O12. Everybody remember, chat, O12. We'll get there in the next step. No, wait. That was correct. Haha. I'm a genius. There are two 12s.
There are two 12s?
There are two 12s on the O sprue. God, that sounds like some Darmok and Jalad level stuff. Remember, there are two 14s on the O sprue. The crow flies at midnight.
What?
I didn't know what the old man meant, and then I started building models.
So,
It's like if you're gonna number things, why? It's like why reuse numbers?
Like I appreciate that they can put multiples of the same thing on the same sheet, but yeah, it would be a lot easy. It would be a lot less nerve wracking.
okay, why would you mold this if you just want me to cut it off?
Wow. Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure that that's what they mean.
Okay, Ka 4.
It's the old cut this off, and then you turn the page. But first,
Yeah.
do this.
No, 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 no!
Steps have been removed to explain clarity.
Yeah, I've definitely realized that it's often worth reading ahead.
Just
Not
a
always,
bit.
but sometimes. So I don't know. I have no shortage of projects that could potentially be on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But one that I thought was quite amusing. There's apparently a way to very affordably make a scintillator probe for my Geiger counter using a paint can.
All right.
It uses,
How scintillating.
yeah, it uses, God, I'm trying to remember what the hell it even does. But it uses some like easily obtained surplus parts from Philips and a piece of scintillating plastic or something. But yeah, it's literally a paint can with a BNC sticking out of it that is apparently quite sensitive for its cost.
I mean, I've heard weirder things. I grew up on the internet in the age of the Cantana from Pringles.
Oh.
Sorry for the folks, not me, of course, but for maybe some other people who might be watching. What is a scintillating probe?
So, this is something that I'm only like sort of becoming familiar with myself. So a Geiger counter, like a Geiger tube, will count radioactive decay, and it'll like detect the presence and like intensity for the most part. A scintillator, I think, gives you a profile that you can work out what isotope is emitting the radiation.
Oh, okay, that's handy.
There's actually another device that I kind of want to get. It's like a cheap, tiny little scintillator that you can use, and you can differentiate isotopes. It'll be like there's a video that I watched that this guy had some wild mushrooms he'd foraged, and they were radioactive for some reason.
Huh.
And he was like, "Why are these radioactive?
Why radioactive?
It's like, what happened to them?" And he took this scintillator and scanned it, and you get this like graph, and you compare that to the signature of the isotope, and I think he found cesium and maybe iodine. He's like, "Oh, it's fallout." Because we know that because cesium is a fission product.
So it's able to.
Yeah, you can figure out what material is causing the radioactive emission.
Right, sort of the electromagnetic profile or something.
I believe so. I'm
Cool.
still like just learning this stuff myself, but it's very fascinating. Because I repaired my Geiger counter. Actually, I can tell you about this a saga, because big ups to everybody who helped contribute to me acquiring one. I have turned to the internet to enable my weird hobbies. I bought a, it wasn't a Ludlum, it was a Eberline E120E, I think, which is like a kind of older Geiger counter, but from my research, it told me that it was built like a truck and had an unlimited supply of spare parts.
Which is always
good. So I got it, and I was like, this is super cool. And I was playing around with it. And I got it with what's called a pancake probe, which is like a stick with it's got like it looks like a puck on the end, and there's like a grill. And I had it turned face up, and I was like checking some thoriated welding rods, and I accidentally dropped a piece of it through the gap in the grate.
Oh no.
And scared the shit out of myself because I just heard bang!
Oh.
And I had no idea what I had done. I was like, did I just like have some sort of like electrical problem?
Right. Did you just atomize
did I atomize
thoriates?
What did I do?
Oh.
It really startled me. And when I surveyed the wreckage, there was little tiny flakes of what I found out later was mica.
Okay.
And it was broken. So when I did this sort of like post-mortem on it, what it turned out is the sensing element for the pancake probe, it's like, if you imagine like a steel cup, sort of like a lid almost, and inside is a little antenna, and over top of that is an ultra-thin membrane of mica, and the inside is pressurized with a sensing gas, which is either like neon or xenon, or it depends on what role it's serving.
But something exotic.
And I had punctured it, and it had imploded.
Yeah, you don't come back from that, I guess.
No, it was toast. But fortunately, as I had researched, the parts were still available. It was like about $150 mistake.
But that's better than a whole new
Yeah.
Geiger counter.
But yeah, I felt real stupid for a while, and then
So it wasn't actually like a chemical or reaction or
it
anything.
was
it was just
it was an atmospheric
it was just
sound.
it was just the weight of the thing dropping on
Yeah,
it.
it just like the mica. The reason it's so thin is because alpha radiation is so low powered.
Right, it just
It
gets
can
blocked.
it can
by
be
anything.
blocked by a sheet of paper, and so in order to sense that, you need something thinner than a sheet of paper,
Right,
but not so thin that it,
but also something that can withstand a certain pressure amount.
exactly.
Hence,
I've heard,
rock.
like, I found out that you have to be careful taking Geiger tubes like that on airplanes, because the pressure differential can destroy them. I heard like a rumor that they can be burst by a car door slamming, but that might be apocryphal.
I mean,
I hope it's apocryphal.
depending on the car. I didn't realize until recently that most modern cars have just these sorts of vents in the back. They're just like a rubber flap.
Yeah.
And they sit in the wheel well. And they're there specifically so that when you close the door, that it provides a pressure point where it can just, the pressure can be released out these vents. Because otherwise, cars are way too good these days at keeping a vacuum.
That's so weird. So I got the replacement tube, and I spent an afternoon very gingerly easing it back into place, and then closing it up. I'm looking into getting a vinyl cover to just go over top, because the other thing is like that thin surface has to be exposed. So the only real protection it has is a steel grill, which will like keep most
Large
objects
things,
from touching it, but it still has to be open
Yeah.
so that the sensing element can receive what it's sensing. But yeah, I wanted to get like a vinyl cover to put it on, so that'll probably still pick up, I think, beta and gamma, of course. And then if I need it to be more sensitive, I can
You just like take a peanut jar lid and fill it with neoprene and cut the outline out.
maybe. It's funny. I found this corporation that does vinyl end caps, and I tried to get a free sample out of them, but I'm too honest to lie to them.
Get me the measurements, and I can print one up for you.
Ooh.
I'm assuming it's a perfect cylindrical.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 3/4 inches or 69 millimeters.
Nice.
Thereabouts.
Yeah, we can absolutely make that happen for you.
Neat.
One of the things that 3D printing is actually good for.
Yeah, that actually segues neatly into another thing that I'm meaning to tinker on. My brother has a 3D printer, and he gave me this 3D printed bust of Dr. Breen from Half-Life. And I keep wanting to cast him in aluminum. So I'm looking at the sculpture again, sort of evaluating how I'm going to approach that task. And I think the first thing I need to do is fill in all the undercuts, which, if you've never done mold making, an undercut is like, how do I describe this? Like a molded shape has to like work with the two halves that come together. And if there's like edges that like come out and round over, that interferes with it like coming apart.
Right.
So you want to have it as like a sort of uniform shape, which unfortunately limits some of the detail. So on this bust, his suit collar actually comes out and looks like a suit collar. So I'm gonna have to fill that in, and then also like the back of his collar is open, and I'll have to fill that as well. And also like just behind his ears are they're gonna need
that sort of That's interesting you mention that because go ahead, Paul.
Well, I was just going to say that like there's that interesting aspect that that 3D printing is sort of because it is kind of a fundamentally different process.
Well, it's an additive process,
mold,
which is really different. Like,
and so there's
so much more different than you think.
And there's all sorts of things that you can make in 3D. You can 3D print that you can't mold. Just literally, shapes that just literally don't work as molds can be done as 3D prints.
Yep.
And so yeah. If you want to adapt one to the other, requires some investigation.
That said, one of the areas where technology is still moving forward in the printing space is in the slicers, in the software side of things. And they have thought about that for a lot of them in that when you're slicing your models now, a lot of the slicing being the procedure, for those who are not aware, of taking a 3D object and slicing it into layers of a 3D whole.
Well, it's like making a plan for the printing process.
Like, imagine if you wanted to print something out via 3D by printing it in paper, cutting out that single layer and then gluing the layers on top of each other. That's essentially the process of slicing.
Yep.
So the slicers have always been pretty feature neutral. Not that you can lay things out automatically. You can drive supports. They're now adding support for cutting, which is different from slicing. Cutting your model pre-slice, so it comes apart in a way that you can control, so that you can avoid those sorts of things if you're making it for molding.
And something I really want to try is lost PLA casting.
Ooh.
Which is like lost wax casting, but with plastic. So it's probably way stinkier.
I mean, at that point, just find someone who's willing to run wax through wax filament.
Yeah, maybe. Lost wax casting, for those who've never heard of it, is a means of casting in metal where you build the form, like the thing that you want to make. So let's say like a ring. You sculpt a complete ring out of a particular type of hard wax that has properties that make it, you can drill it and like sand it and carve it
It's machine-escable, but yeah, it's
and
workable.
Yeah, and it still has some of the properties of wax. Like if you heat it, you can like stick pieces together.
But also that drilling is very important.
And then you like create a sprue around it and put it into what's called a flask, which is just a steel container with like perforations on the side. And you fill it with a special kind of, I think it's gypsum plaster.
That sounds right.
It's called investment.
It's like a really, really fine plaster.
Yeah, it's very fine.
High resolution.
And you stick that in a vacuum chamber to try and get all the bubbles out. What the heck? Oh, that's
And
weird.
then you can heat it up and melt all the wax out.
Yep.
Yeah, you put it in a kiln, and it will, after the investment is dried or cured, I guess. You melt all the wax out, so that positive form disappears, leaving only a void in this plaster, which you then can fill with metal, and it creates the form. The problem is that the mold is destroyed every time.
So it's a one-time process.
Yeah. Although
But if you're working with jewelry, which is can often be something that you want to be a one-off item, that's kind of useful, or at least not detrimental.
it's maybe where we get the phrase "breaking the mold."
Yes, I would bet dollars on that.
Okay, what the heck?
But yeah, that's it's also fairly similar to sand casting in that respect too.
A little bit, yeah. Sand casting. There's a couple different types of sand casting that I want to try. Like there's green sand, and then there's Petrobond, which I haven't tried yet. I mean, I haven't tried either of them. Green sand is, I think it's just regular sand and a little bit of like very fine sand, and then very fine clay, and just a hint of water, just enough so that it like clumps together. And so you can pack that around half of your form, and then dust it with talcum powder, and then
Ideally, it comes
and
out
then
of
like
it.
form the other half, and then when you take them apart, you get a mold that's fire resistant enough to withstand stuff like brass, bronze, copper, silver, gold.
And that's why you do that then, is for that.
Yeah, because those metals have to be very hot in order to do what you want them to. Oh, hell.
And I mean, what's cool with sand casting is that rather than, smashing it like investment or whatever, you take away, you open it up and it just is sand again. So
Yep.
just-
You get to reuse the sand.
there's even like, it's not even like a one time, I've seen that sand casting being used, videos of sand casting being used like for almost sort of industrial, like mass production processes. That it just, they just do the sand cast over and over and over again.
Large engine blocks.
It's
Yeah, I
actually
think-
it's actually more efficient to do it in sand casting rather than making like a permanent mold or whatever. Or you can't make a mold because of how it's shaped.
Yeah. Or it's just like, what are you going to make the mold out of that's going to withstand that kind of temperature? Like, I think you can sand cast iron.
Yep. The nice thing about sand casting for things like that, especially like engine components that are large and bulky, but still precision in the end, is that you use the sand casting to get the general shape of things, and then you get in there with machine tools and actually lap the cylinders.
And now you've taken me on a wonderful segue to yet another project that I want to do on this show.
Perfect.
Part of the ambition that I've had for a long time, I guess I'm sort of like getting into my retirement
Is this guy
projects.
Nobunaga with his ambitions?
Yeah, right. I'm not getting my eye shot out. I want to build like model steam engines.
Which is to say, working model steam engines?
Of course.
Yes, of course.
So there's this place. What's the name of it? It's not Smith. It might be Smith. It's something or other. It's this company in the UK, and they sell steam engine miniatures that are, of course, functional. And they have three different levels of finish on them.
Okay.
There's the like completely finished, assembled, ready to run.
Right. That's for your executives who just want to have something
It's
on
like,
their
this is
table.
neat. It's like, it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
Then there's the complete set of finished parts, which is, like all the screws, all the bits and gubbins for you to just like assemble.
This is for your retiree who just wants
Less
to
expensive.
assemble things.
And then there's the casting. It's just the casting and like a couple of like billets of brass and stuff, and it's like, you do it.
This is the oh god, this is the Josh Brolin kit.
This is
Fine, I'll
this
do
is
it myself.
This is the maximum sweaty mode.
So I assume that's the one you're going for.
Yeah, because like that involves using a mill and a lathe. Because like the casting you can see actually because it's completely been like it's been. I think they knocked the sand off it and that's it.
Yeah, you have to brush some extra sand off.
So there's
yourself.
like flashing lines and
yeah.
there's no surfaces designated. Like you have to mill those off and then you have to bore it out. Oh man,
Yep.
it's a giant pain in the ass. It sounds awesome.
Oh, you're a dirty casting, aren't you? You're flashing all over the place.
You have to rub you real slow with this bastard file. Here we go.
I do love the. Well, there comes a time in a man's life where, and you're not there yet, but one day you two will want to look into steam trains.
Yeah, when Alex says he's getting into model trains, he doesn't mess around.
Yep. Well, not even like model trains, just like static engines.
Oh yeah.
Like the ones that, like a vertical steam engine that would, at one point, industry was driven by these kind of machines where like, if you had like a wood shop,
Yep.
whereas nowadays, you have electricity and you just plug in all the machines and they run themselves. They have their own motors.
Not back in the day.
Back in the day, that's like, what, 1800s, turn of the century, that kind of
The
thing.
Industrial Revolution
Yeah.
happened on a series of,
revolutions. Revolutions in figuratively and literally. You would have a steam engine, which is like you would have a boiler, so you'd stoke it with wood or coal or whatever. Yeah. It boils water, the steam is tapped off, and it runs a piston that runs a flywheel. And the flywheel generates circular force that it then just goes to a series of belts and pulleys and drive shafts.
Which are usually in the ceiling area of whatever
Yeah,
factory you're
they're
in.
just running.
Yep.
And it's like if I need to run this drill press, we'll run a belt down from
Yep.
that to the drill press.
Like think electricity, but instead of
Belts.
plugging into a thing, it's a belt on a.
or like compressed air or something.
Yeah. Compressed air still gets a bit of use.
Oh yeah.
I'm not certain what the advantage is over something because like air tools still get used, and I don't know what it is. Like air ratchets get used, air chisels get used. They're just like they're still useful.
I think it's nothing but just the lack of electricity that needs to be used in them. They're a little bit simpler in that way.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with
No
compressed air.
sparks. That's a good point.
No sparks, and less to go wrong too in that respect.
I mean, that's how I cut lead at Makerspace. I've graduated from melting wheel weights
to cutting.
Well, somebody
billets.
gave us a big chunk of like conduit shield. So it's like this huge tube that I've just been like nibbling away at for a while.
Probably from AT&T.
Probably, but it's like a nice, pure chunk of lead. But very early I was like, how am I going to cut this and not make a giant toxic mess? And I thought about it as like, I don't want to use a saw because it's going to make tailings and it'll be disgusting. I can't melt it precisely enough. And so what I came up with was like, oh, yeah, right. I was like, oh, I'll use an air chisel. So it just goes like, and there's no chips or anything. It just sort of like,
You get a solid hunk of
slices
lead.
through it. Also, like shears and scissors, if it's smaller, it's great.
I love the idea of compressed air, but yeah, I don't like the idea of the compressor running in my condominium.
I have a teeny tiny airbrush compressor, which I haven't used for airbrushing yet, but I keep sort of meaning to.
I went the compressed, well, I went not compressed air, but carbon dioxide in a tank, because I'm not fancy enough to go for nitrogen. Speaking of air and the time of it, we are now at the top of our hour of broadcast, which means it's probably a good time for us to take a short break. To get up.
Help, don't move your feet.
Okay, not to get up, but in a second, I'm going to get up, stretch my legs, swap my fluids.
Okay, there we go.
You at home should do the same, and we'll be back with more Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry in just a few minutes. Don't go all the way away. Welcome back to Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry, where Alex's JL blocks are too wet to meld. And also, we're doing models. It's hobby night.
Hobby night.
I continue to work on the ZOIDS Sturm Tyrann, and Alex is mating some hoses on a Machine Krieger Lunar Guns. And we're talking about precision. We're talking about all sorts of things here today.
Lots of things. All right, so
During the break, we were old and all talked about the various ailments of our bodies.
it's true.
Wait, I think we got a few more years before that becomes main feed content, but
Oh God, please no.
That goes along with the steam engine building.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it's like. Actually, I think I know exactly why it's the domain of like older British gentlemen. You know, because that's sort of where the Industrial Revolution started. So they've like miniaturized it.
Trying to finally gain back their grand empire via steam.
Well, people that have lots of time on their hands.
That's
that
true.
too.
There's a channel that I watch sometimes by a guy named Keith Appleton, who is very informative. He's also like very dry wit. He's like sort of talks in monotone about how he's
Those are some of my
put
favorite dudes.
these flanges together. And what you want to do with your boiler, you know, blah 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 kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get away from the. I don't know if it's our whatever colonial history or whatever, but the certain English accents and different accents from the UK just sound more authoritative.
Yes.
I wonder how.
I remember hearing that joke the first time in comparison with they were trying to put the Texas accent as the one that gets no respect, and pairing it up with the idea of like, we spin these atoms round and round in the cyclotron until we smash them together. And then you go back and you realize that a large amount of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and other smart people in NASA.
Texas.
Texas.
All that comes from Texas is astro engineers
Yes. Astros and engineers, yeah.
and Chipotle.
I like my chipotle in a can with the adobo.
You know, barbecue, 37 egg omelets, assless chaps.
I mean, one of the most popular sort of science educators on YouTube, the Smarter Every Day.
Oh, is he Texan?
He's from Alabama.
Oh, wow.
And so he's often going and talking to these wonderful people who are like, well, I don't know, I just kind of do this. People who sort of don't really realize that they're doing all this sort of like amazing technical scientific work, or at least sort of don't admit that they're doing it until he sort of sits down and is like, no, seriously. Look at the stuff that this guy's doing. It's amazing.
I mean, that said, a guy named Smarter Every Day is probably a step or two above, in terms of the awareness department, a step or two above the average American.
I forgot a sub-assembly.
Oh, no.
I think.
What you gonna do?
Well, I mean, I could go back and build it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's...
Oh, no, wait a minute. It's just one part. Never mind. Why does J19 look like J7? Is this J? No, this is C. Ah, this is J19. I bet you this goes on the other side.
I don't get the joke.
What? No, there's no joke.
Hey everybody, why does J19 look like J7?
This was the game that Graham and I used to play when we lived together many moons ago. Is that like... I assure you this is not a brag, but like my spontaneous wit is such that I will sometimes blurt things out in a cadence that makes it difficult to tell if I'm quoting something or not.
Mm-hmm.
And Graham would try to figure out whether this was like from a movie or an anime or whatever, or if I had just made it up that second.
That poor boy, because yeah, you are also completely capable of making things up on the spot.
Yeah.
But at least, and especially back in the day, you were very immersed in certain internet subcultures that.
What do you mean back in the day?
May have influenced your.
Yeah,
I remember we did a podcast like a long time ago that was like Alex-isms, and
Yeah.
like where the history of where certain things came from.
There's a lot of, like, my language is very strange. Particularly, I've discovered with my partners that the more I like somebody, the shittier my spelling gets.
Yeah, no, I can
Like,
see
the more sort of inscrutable my my communication becomes. So there's a few people that, like, I message on Discord, and it's just fucking gibberish.
All right. Well, now you know if you get a message from Alex that is completely incomprehensible, there you go.
DMs are open.
I am the exact opposite. If everything is perfectly punctuated and spelled, then you know that I'm talking to you, just you.
Yeah, if you get a message from Alex that looks like a cat has just been walking over the keyboard.
Meow, meow. Alex, may I borrow a hit from your CA?
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. My
First one's free.
My pin is continuing to fall out because I had to. In one of the Discords I'm in, a person had their side plastic pin on their god hands come out, and this is apparently something that happens to a lot of people. And it's the purpose of it is to keep the two blades from going too far apart and releasing the spring in between them. I'd forgotten the spring part because I probably blocked it out as a traumatic memory from the last time it happened to me. But by taking it out the second time, I re-loosened it and now have to glue it back in.
What the hell? Ah, crap. Can you read that?
Rimas. No. We can give it the translator, I think.
I don't have my phone because it's charging.
There we go. I keep the translator.
There is a note regarding a teeny little pin here that I don't know what it says.
Is that one there? Come on. Oh, it's trying to translate from English to French. That's not going to help. Translate from detect language to not French.
Traumatized Japanese tourist. Cut out.
Okay.
Another freaking...
Make this go. It's interesting that they used the Japanese for cutout rather than the words cutout, which they used earlier.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, what the heck?
How was that the first time the words cut out have appeared in the in this book?
There we go. When using the super glue next to the joint, you need to be very careful.
Right. Ian, was that set to English to French because of yesterday's stream?
No, actually, it was. No, wait, yes, it was. Sorry. I was doing other translation work today from French, demonstrating, what was it called? Whisper, the OpenAI-based transcription service.
Oh,
A
neat.
program,
Yeah, yeah.
rather. It's not even a service. You can just run it natively, and it's really fast and really good on M1 Max.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, I was using it I was using the Canadian bilingual horror show known as Télé Français.
Oh wow! I was telling somebody about that the other day,
Yeah.
and they were just beside themselves.
So, someone questioned the translation because he was saying like, "ananan." They're saying that the pineapple is going to jump out of the airplane with a parachute. I'm like, that can't be right.
No, it sounds about.
Yeah, I'm like, no, that is absolutely correct. Yes, that is what's happening.
Yeah, just because it's surreal doesn't mean it isn't correct French.
But we were having a team building day at the Worky Work, and it was fun because one of the things we were asked to do was to build a tower out of spaghetti noodles, uncooked spaghetti noodles. I need to be clear.
Hang on a sec. Are you doing elementary school again?
I think it was a little bit closer to Taskmaster, but the idea of it was that we were supposed to learn a lesson that we need to talk to the clients more and get all of the things ahead of time because halfway through they might ask you to attach a marshmallow to your thing. Anyway, as long viewers of Loading Ready Run may know, I excel in these sorts of challenges.
We need to do another escape room.
We absolutely
You
do.
need to talk to the clients and say,
Yes.
please, can we do this with uncooked spaghetti?
Well, the first
Cooked spaghetti is not going to work for this.
the first thing I did was reprise the idea from Assmaster so many months ago, which
Oh,
was
hang it from the ceiling.
exactly rather than trying to build something that's rigid and holds things up, use tensile strength and build from the top down. And it was working perfectly until one of the other teams said to the facilitator, "Hey, we asked if we could tape it to the ceiling, and you said no." And my response to that was, "Well, sucks to ask." But anyway, we did have to actually take it down.
Dominated.
Built a new tower. We were still the only team left with any sort of a tower. 16 inches. 16 inches we managed to get up to. And
Okay,
holding.
like here's another one. What the hell does this all say?
Oh, okay, you know what? Let's just get out the machine. The machine. What that all says. Okay.
Please adjust by scraping a little by little.
Yeah, just by scraping the tip,
So
little by little.
I don't know if we can really see it, but can you,
Oh, yeah.
if from the overhead here,
That's centered, if you want to attempt to zoom in on that.
yeah, here. Let me.
There's a lot of very peculiar things about this kit.
Man, yeah, real-time translation is like one of those totally in the future things.
Okay. C7 is not used.
I don't know why we even have a C7.
There it is. Adjust by scraping the tip, little by little. I don't know if we're allowed to request things to be put into the advice system, but I think that definitely fits.
I'm just gonna try to get this to fit in a way that seems good.
I mean, what is good?
There's a lot of these. Some of these things remind me of recipes, like cooking recipes that
Oh,
are like
yeah.
that are like, cook until done.
Yeah. Can we have a little bit more guidance, please?
Yes.
God, I've been like trying to cook more, and online recipes are just atrocious. Because it's like, here's an essay about nothing. Or it's just like being padded out so much. Like I looked up a recipe for simple syrup. Like I think it was mint simple syrup. And it was paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. Practically talking about, it's like, sugar is a sweet, it's like almost that dumb. It's just like, what?
I
The last
wish
time I had simple sugar was when I was traveling in Rome.
I wish I could tell you it gets better, but with the way things are going with AI-generated content, this is
Gonna
only
get
going to get
dumber.
worse. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, you need a certain amount of text. More text gives better SEO content, and also gives more space for ads to get inserted and
Yep.
stuff.
That makes sense.
It's like, when you watch a YouTube video and you're like, this 30-minute video could have been 5 minutes.
But that's like it's long. It's like padded out so that.
And if I'm remembering my things correctly, I don't believe that recipes themselves can be copyrighted. So that means that the only part that that technically they own then is the preamble story.
That's interesting that they can't be copied. Right. I guess that's why the Coke and these different things are sort of famously kept super secret, as opposed to being protected by copyright.
Like I suppose you could patent the process, but a process is different from a recipe in some fundamental legal way.
This is the weirdest, most ill-fitting part of this kit. It's like it's being jammed in as an afterthought.
In a kit bashed.
But all the other parts have fit normally. This is so weird.
So if I recall,
Is this the shaved little bit until it fits?
Yeah.
Part.
So if I recall from the last episode, and I think from some of the other reading I've been doing about it, this kit is actually itself a mishmash of old and new sprues from the kit.
Oh, that'd be why.
Yeah, so you're probably now working on one of the old pieces mating with one of the new pieces.
It's like instead of I shave until it fits, how about you make it
Yeah.
at the size that it fits?
You do that. You're the one with the big injection machine.
Which you also have a model kit of. I built that kit.
Yeah, I've built it too, and I need to. It's probably going to get stripped down soon and painted properly with some new hoses.
Horses.
All right, and then we just need the 13. Ooh, 13. Where are my oohs at?
Where are you bearing?
It's my O. It's my my E, my ooh.
Ah, E. Ooh.
Eh?
Oh.
Well done. We got there.
Hai yoku dekimashita.
You pass Japanese class for the day.
Yep.
I think I grabbed the wrong one again. 13?
Dang it.
Was that 14? There are 2 oohs. I need to find the second ooh now. Damn it.
The uwu.
Also questioning anytime that... I really do wish that more manuals told you when you were using the last piece on the runner. Just so you could know for sure.
Ooh. It's time to bend.
Oh! Is it wire time?
Yeah, I think so. This looks like 1 millimeter, right?
Yes.
I actually kind of should have brought my micrometer.
Left-hand side of... Wait, one of the sides of this sheet has the millimeter markings on it. One second.
It's either that one
Nope. I'm thinking about my sheet at home.
or that cannot be.
That is 1/2 millimeter.
Okay. So it's got to be this one, which has this handy dandy sheet here that shows you. So we have to bend this into this shape.
Oh, that's
Which
real
is not
size.
So yeah.
That's great.
So let's see if I can do this properly. Do you have a Sharpie?
I do not. Just gonna use as a break. Got the ends of an Olfa knife, if that's...
No,
you've got...
I have this. Yes. I just wanted to mark it. Like, maybe I can just notch it.
Okay, and then this goes into there. That's whatever this is. Done. 2 of them. I believe those were for the bust.
Okay, so I can just barely see that. It's going to be just a hair above.
Okay. Moving on to hind leg. And I need eye in my runners.
Hot damn.
It's a straight 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
You don't need a radius on it or anything.
Well, there's a tiny radius, but luckily I have this pair of jewelry pliers for exactly that purpose. So I should be able to check this again. So we want to bend there past it.
Back to the ABS. I8. We need 2 of these.
I think they gave us more than we needed.
That's nice of them.
Oh, baby.
I do appreciate when you get bonus parts with a kit.
Well, it's not perfect, but have a look at that.
Heck yeah. 1 second, let me go put that up on the camera for you so you can show off das Werk. All right.
So there we go. All right. Meow.
So yeah, it does look like the piece is a little long.
Yeah, so I mean that's good because it means that I can trim it off with my god hand.
Oh, you want to make the people cry?
No, I don't. Where I didn't. Did I bring my? I don't think I brought my side cutters.
Oh no.
Like any type of pliers.
Yeah, I'm. Oh, I know where some were.
Weirdly, my scale model kit does not have a means to cut brass wire in it. And you must never, ever, ever, ever cut anything except plastic with these.
And even then, only certain kinds of plastic.
Yeah.
Hey,
If you do, traditional Japanese folklore ghosts will appear and devour you. I've seen it happen. It's ugly.
Somewhere in Japan, somebody will just shed a single tear.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tente. Have your head.
He's like roused from a horrifying dream.
I had a dream, and you were there.
And you?
I saw what you did.
I know what you did. You will never get away with this.
I don't know, I feel like something called a god hand should really be able to cut anything.
Could God make a hand so...
Awesome.
God that even he couldn't cut it?
Oh, this is going to be sweet if it works the way I think it will.
Are these all eyepieces? These are all eyepieces.
Ooh.
Okay, so I8 goes on there. I7 goes into the hole on I8. I6 goes onto the peg on I8. And that's that. And then I4 closes it all up. And then we're not done with the eye parts. Damn it. 1 left on the sprue. Oh, that looks so good.
Brass parts are very cool.
Especially wire.
It's that larger wire there.
Neat.
Pretty cool.
Gonna look real good when it's all painted up.
Yeah, it's gonna look marvelous. Where did my other hose go? Oh, there it is. I haven't quite worked out how to connect all these up, because like there's a smaller orifice and a larger one. I think I just need to make it bigger. I need to gape this hole.
In the underworld. Ooh, that is a mighty joint. Wow, that is a mighty joint. That sticks real good.
This is an ABS section you're building now, which is the sort of more flexible stuff, right?
Correct. Well, I think more sticky and rigid is what we're looking for here.
Oh, I see.
Less brittle, which is why I think they're making the joint portions out of it.
So this will be a moving piece.
Yes. Specifically a posing piece, I think. One of the issues with and we've talked about the poly caps before.
So we're at poses and hoses.
Yep. Where my hose is at. But yeah, one of the problems with poly caps, despite being a nice replaceable option for when they wear out, is that they do wear out. And it can mean that a kit might not be posable in the pose you want just because it can't hold a wrist can't maintain a certain pose due to gravity overcoming the limits of static friction. EAA are the runners I need now. So you're ooh, you can go over there. You also are ooh, you stay there.
Hey, you.
I see what you mean about the wishing they would tell you when a runner was all used. Because some of the little, especially the little pieces, sometimes it's a little tough to tell what's flashing and sprue and what's actual part.
And when you're dealing with this many sprues, it would just be really nice to eliminate them as early as possible in the game. Let's see here. So I need E4.
You're drilling a little hole there, Alex?
I am widening an existing hole because it seems too small to admit this hose that is meant to go in there. Oh, come on. Oh, I want to get it just enough that it'll go in, but not so much that it'll have a lot of slop.
I'm very excited too. Had to buy a new set of small files in order to do some work on some PS4 controllers.
There we go.
Excited to put them in plastic.
The other one.
Okay. So that is...
Do you think the next PS5 controller is going to be waterproof?
One would hope. They're running out of low-hanging fruit in terms of features.
Yeah.
That said, it would make me actually very unhappy if they did.
Why is that?
Because generally the way that things are made waterproof.
You just fill it with glue.
Yeah. Ugh. And that means that taking it apart to do any repairs or modifications is usually just no bueno in general.
I would be surprised if the next generation of controllers doesn't have Hall effect. Considering how common those are in third-party things now and how they seem to be sort of objectively better.
And in fact, there was they're already producing them in exactly the same size and footprint for replacement in currently existing controllers.
And judging from the price, they're not that expensive.
No, they are not.
And they seem to be just, better all around in terms of avoiding drift and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. The other interesting thing about it, and this is from following a guy who was deciding to try and make his own Hall effect controller, is that because you're not using the space on the sides to house a potentiometer, you can just use that same area for small magnets and coils of wire and make force feedback in that tiny, tiny size.
Neat.
Yeah. That's a good back end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he built up a demo model that was just used to replicate the movements of the sticks that he was posting, and it was smooth and accurate.
Golly gosh, it's time to build the legs. We're getting close to the end here. I wonder if I might be able to finish this. Well, I mean, let's not go crazy.
Yeah.
You've got a pretty good chunk of sprues still, I think.
Yeah.
I've got at least 12 pages here before I'm done.
How many pages have you gone through? What step are you on out of?
Are on step 64 on page 21
Okay.
of assembly steps. We're looking at 103 of page 208.
So more than halfway.
But we still then need to get into the deckling at the end, which, that's a lot.
Will you still leave me? Will you still keep me? When I'm on step 64.
Okay. So I have to build these as a pair.
You and me both. 2 and 4. 2 and 4. Ooh. That's the sound of
The bell.
crisp, clean PLA.
Wow, is this ever complicated?
There's a lot going on there, yeah.
Yeah, this is a hell of a step. This one is going to be exciting, I think.
This is the fill in the rest of the robot step.
It really is.
Whoops.
Assemble the head. Assemble the backpack. Now complete the robot. And 2 and 4 again. And then we'll need another polycap. Polyester capture point. I don't think it means capture point. Capsule? No. There we go. Right as rain. PC 1C. I need 2 of you. Good thing there are 6 of you. And these ones I do need to be careful not to cut a key off the side of. That just looks like part of the sprue. Okay, there we go. And we only need the 2 of them because we're only building 2. Perfect. Okay. This side, and then the other side. And the poly cap goes into the hole with the key properly. We'll do it on the other side too. Good go. Stay with me. Stay. My big meat hands are not compatible.
I think your big meat hands are fresh as a daisy.
Oh, thank you. They are new, but they are not compatible.
Oh, there's an i7 in here.
Lucky you. Man, remember when we used to have to be...
Oh, no, it's an i4.
Aw. Back when we had to buy pre-formatted diskettes for our particular systems.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want to have to go back to those days.
There's some stuff I kind of miss. Like, I mean, floppy disks are just kind of sweet.
Oh man, that was one of the best tricks about the floppy disks. Were the people who would take the 3.5-inch ones and would purchase the machine to punch a hole on the other side to make them at least double-sided.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You used to have to spend like an extra $1 on your per disc to get them double-sided.
What? I didn't know that.
You talking about for 5-inch discs or for 3.5-inch?
For the 3.5
Or 3.25?
Yeah, for 3.25. There was I remember having to punch out a hole on those as well as because the 5.25 discs, you could just do that with a standard hole punch.
Right.
Of course you could.
Yeah. Lower resolution. But yeah, I remember our junior high school computer teacher had bought one of the machines to ka-chunk the little plastic boys.
Right, because it was what 500 or 400K.
Yep, 400, 800, and
800, and then high density was 1.2 megs, I think.
Yep. It was 1.2 or 1.414.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
1.4. That's right. 1.44. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
There we go. It's been a while since we've had to.
Probably, now that I think about it, probably the same math that works out why modems were 14.4
Yeah.
baud.
Probably some multiple of 2. All right. 65, where I need A1, A3, and E1.
We have to keep 1 or 2 3.5-inch discs around just so we can show people what the save symbol means
Yeah.
in your like Word document or whatever.
I mean, you joke, but there was someone who tweeted that a photo of a floppy disk saying someone 3D printed the save icon.
It's like, oh, you darling.
One of the Reddits I'm subscribed to is called Cassette Futurism,
Oh, I love cassette futurism.
and it is absolutely that kind of floppy disk aesthetic.
I mean, that's sort of what my whole comic is modeled after.
I mean, the problem. I mean, I love modern stuff, but the problem is that it isn't iconic, not in the sense of a design thing, but in the sense of actually working well for an icon.
Yeah.
Like if you want an icon to phone somebody, you still use a picture of an old telephone.
Yeah, at the very least, a handset.
I kind of love.
Whereas if you used like a modern phone, it would be just a black square, which is not a useful icon.
Well, and then the very thought of phone calling someone by dialing a number rather than just clicking it is, ooh, blasphemy.
We could make a save icon as an SD card. I mean, sort of, but I mean, for one thing, that's also just a square.
Yeah, they're not really. Not everyone is saving onto SD cards. That was the thing about the floppies. That rich or poor, like oh God, Andy Warhol said, everyone uses the same floppy disks.
Everyone uses the same
That
data
was
plan.
definitely something he said.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he would have if he was still alive. And I told him that he needed to say that because it would be witty. And I would definitely know Andy Warhol.
I mean, he was at the original like Mac 128K announcement to show off how cool all the cool things you could do with Mac Paint.
Oh yeah, wasn't
Mac Draw, I think.
Yeah, wasn't one of the original Macintosh logos an Andy Warhol creation too on the Mac?
Could have been. I don't know.
But yeah. Okay, those 2 parts, and we need E1 as well.
For some reason, I just realized that, your phone, the portable phone that you carry with you, the phone capability of the portable phone is indicated by the picture of an old style phone. Because, of course, a lot of people have basically never made a phone call on their cell phone.
Yeah. Well, and then you've got me thinking then about, okay, if we can't use a floppy disk to represent iconically what save is, how do we convey that concept? And honestly, should we even think about it, given the way that people think about data as just everything auto saves anyway in the cloud. So why would you need to save something manually?
Ask me why I love manual tools.
Yeah, does not apply to people in this room, but
Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not a Luddite by any means, but there's a certain amount of like taking the the necessity to think about anything out of using your stuff that it just doesn't jibe with me.
Back in my day, we just compulsively Control S whenever we finished like a sentence, just in case, because Microsoft Word would probably crash on us at some point.
yeah, no, I am all for taking out people's needing to remember things, but you absolutely need to have that option there for the person to be able to say, yes, I have saved it with my own hands, and I have received confirmation that the save has occurred.
Yeah.
Also, like, I mean, this is maybe just a minor personal gripe. I hate Touch UI. I just hate it. I think it's garbage.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think the problem is not necessarily the Touch UI itself.
It's my fat fingers. Okay, yeah, I get it.
I also do prefer the precision of a mouse, especially when it's useful for that. But I think what's gone on is we've entered an oversimplification era that there are no more expert products or expert software.
Actually, that's
like everything has to be immediately available to the user to know how to do. Never expect them to go inspect through all the menus and all the menu items and look at every preference that you can switch on or off. Everything just has to be right there in front of you.
Where have all the power users gone?
Well, it's as somebody who is, usually a relatively power user of things, and somebody who also pays a lot of attention to like Apple's. I watch the keynotes and everything and stuff. There's all sorts of things that I saw demonstrated during like a Apple keynote or whatever that I don't know how to do on my phone. Right? They like showed off all these cool things that like the camera app can do. But I don't know how to access that function in the camera. Like it's like, in order to access that function, you have to like, do some combination of swipes and taps at some place in the UI that I don't know where.
And that's a problem.
I have to go like look it up online to find out where that, because this whole thing of like trying to sort of hide the UI as much as possible and not having a big menu, you end up with like, okay, so but seriously, how do I do this?
Well, and that's the weird thing too, because this is the same company that on their desktop that they're desperately trying to ruin at every turn has the ability for you to go up into the help menu and type the words of what you think should be in the menus or somewhere, and it will find it in the menus and show you, here it is. Do you want me to press it? Just hit return. Like that's such a useful feature for someone to discover usability and to be able to search for usability. But old man yells at cloud.
I really?
Yeah, I mean, speaking with my my dad got an iPhone not too long ago, one of the newer ones that doesn't have the home button on it. Right? It just has the swipe up from the bottom.
That made people very upset.
And my mom is pretty techno savvy, but she's got one with the button on it, and so she's realizing that like she didn't know how to. So to tell my dad how to like close applications, like the sort of force quit thing, and so she ended up like adding the assistive touch, like on screen home button thing, so that he could do that. And then I came over and I was like, oh, what you do is you pull up from the bottom and then hold for a sec, and it goes into the
oh yeah, it's
thing. But like that was never explained.
No.
And that was never shown anywhere.
And then how do you even describe the gesture?
Right.
Like, you got to make a J motion with your thumbs.
Dear God.
What the hell are you talking about?
It's becoming wizardry.
Okay, let's see if we can finish up this step, and then maybe we'll take ourselves a second break.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Come on, get in there. You know you wanna.
I don't know, but I don't think those things are like inherently a problem with Touch UI.
No, like that.
But it is. I mean, in some ways, it's just that.
It's not even a problem with
In a lot
devices
of ways,
like doing stuff for you. It's just like it's an implementation thing.
in a lot of ways, it's like the problem is that that's sort of what Apple likes to do, and they've kind of led the industry, and everyone keeps trying to copy them, and that doesn't turn out so well.
I mean, it's very interesting to see how that works, because on the Windows side, you've got Touch UI everywhere on their desktop, and a mobile system that sadly went nowhere. Windows Phone was pretty interesting, actually, in terms of what it was doing. But yeah, it just never took off. And then Apple, the other way around, who everyone just wants, just let us touch our MacBook screens. And Apple says, no, we need to redesign the UI first so that your fat fingers can work with it.
It's like the scroll direction thing.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Please tell me what direction I'm actually scrolling. Do not hide it behind classic and natural. Because those...
It's a fascinating thing, though, like that, to make that change. And you realize sort of what it's doing. It's sort of changing the metaphor. It's like rather than
pulling the page down.
Yeah, rather than you have a window into the page that you're moving around on the page. It's you're actually grabbing the page itself and moving it, which is like a weird. It's just sort of like, and it's one of those things that like either way works, but we've always done it one way, and now we're doing it the other way. And as somebody who switches between Mac and Windows very often, I never go the right. It's like, if you switch between reversed and normal controllers, controller layout.
This is why if I'm ever piloting a computer with someone hovering over my shoulder, the last thing I ever want to hear from them when I'm halfway down a page is, scroll up. What do you mean? Which way do you want me to go? Which is up? Do you want to go to the top of the page, or do you want to move the current page up in the frame so you can see down below?
I don't know how.
Right. Just scroll up.
Just go left.
Yeah, at that point I was like, scroll up. I'm like, nope, I'm just gone. Speaking of being gone, I am going to be, and so is Alex, and so is Paul, because we're going to take ourselves a short little break while we get up, stretch our legs, swap our fluids, and get ready for the third portion of tonight's Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry. Goodbye. Welcome back to Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry, where we just had a break, in case you didn't catch it on the other side. Hey, I'm Ian. This is Alex.
Hello.
We got Paul on the ones and twos in the booth, and we are doing hobby night, building our models. Alex's Machine Kriegers, Luna guns.
I got some legs that are getting close.
Those are coming together very nicely, it looks like.
Oh.
And I'm still plugging away at this Sturm Tyrann.
What's cool about these legs is
a whole lot of things,
well,
but specifically,
they're kind of posable.
I mean, you want them to be a little bit posable, I guess.
They're like one of those lamps or something.
Yeah, with the spring systems.
Blanca, blanca, crunch! Just stomps on a guy's face. D13.
I would trust Pixar with a Japanese mecha license.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say with like a grimdark IP. I would love to see what those guys got up to if they were just allowed to go off the chain.
Are you watching My Adventures with Superman?
Negatory. All I'm seeing is like tons and tons of like Lois Tomboy art.
Yep.
And I'm here for it, I tell you what.
It's very good.
Anyway.
Yes. I know just that it is extremely influenced by the Japanese style.
Yep.
And I'm here for it. Because I like Superman stories where Superman is a lovable goofball.
I'm gonna tell you, it's like, I guess that makes him a little closer to Goku.
He very much is. I mean, alien from another planet who comes here and is raised by... I mean, I'm not sure if Master Roshi is a particular analog to the Kents, but...
Not really. But yeah,
and made by a Canadian.
Pa Kent versus Master Roshi.
I am certain that Master Roshi wins that one.
I think they both shake hands and go have a beer out in the back porch, is what happens.
I mean, either that or Master Roshi like tries to show him his Poro Mag and gets a restraining order on him. It's like, I don't want to see you near me, my wife, or my son again.
You say you can only buy these magazines in Japan. Martha, we're making a trip.
I always did want to go to the Orient.
Do you think the Kents ever had Clark fly them places?
I don't
Like,
know.
just get in these harnesses with like a suitcase on their back each. and they-
Wee. It becomes like a problem for when he's just like, oh, we just gotta pop over to your auntie's real quick. Yeah. Nobody will notice.
You can walk.
It's like, Mom, come on.
That always happens for like the Flash, and it's, you know, where it's like, okay, could we get pizza, but like from Italy? Like,
I've only just been like catching up on Flash memes because I didn't see the movie, but I saw that clip where they play in reverse and he puts a baby in the microwave. It's hilarious.
I haven't seen that yet, but that sounds
Well, like
great.
in the movie, he takes it out
Baby
of a
out.
microwave, but it's just like, well, you really softballed that one in.
there's a great, I think it was just like from a comic, or there's a bit from a comic or something where there's, you know, been superheroes have been fighting some big bad guy and destroyed this, or like mostly destroyed this building, and they're like, oh man, and there's, you know, there's a bunch of stuff in there. They're like gonna go, all the guys are coming to repair it, and the Flash is there, and they're like, hey Flash, could you help out with this, and you know, do it super fast. And the Flash is like, for me, I still have to do all the work.
It's still real time for me, boy.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm also not a contractor. Is your union rep gonna like give me a hard time for being?
It's like, I'm gonna do a shitty job.
Actually, yeah, he does it instantly, and it's like not structurally sound at all.
Yeah, it's like, well, what do you want? I don't know how this stuff works.
It's like, I go fast. I don't know how to like lay, you know, foundation or do drywalling. Or...
And like, and he can't reduce the like cure time of concrete.
Yeah.
Is that the reason that we haven't seen more Sonic games where he's a doctor or teaches typing and whatnot? Because he's the self-awareness that all he can do is go fast?
That's funny. Ages ago, somebody told me that there was like some comic where it was like the Riddler and the Flash somehow, and he like had cooked up some sort of elaborate scheme where he's just like, you know, there's a bomb in one of these houses, you know, and you have to solve my, you know, riddle to get it.
Bullshit riddle.
And like the Flash just goes and has it, and he's like, you just went to every single house, didn't you? He's like, yep. And he just sort of like tears up the riddle. I don't know which one that was, but
Oh, that's great.
I think that's hilarious. It's like, well, fine, take all the fun out of it.
It's like, you're the only one having fun here.
It's like, you jackass.
But there are certain things the Flash does where you're like, well, it's like, okay, he's got like, you know, unlimited time or whatever. But, you know, even assuming that, you know, if you think about it in terms of just like time is stopped for him,
Tokyo Tomare.
you would still have to like walk around to each house and like check it. Like it would just be annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know, maybe he catches up on his Sudokus or whatever. I mean, weirdly, if you examine too many of those things too closely, they start to fall apart.
Do you think he sleeps in the Flash state?
That's troubling.
Can he get extra sleep by just going fast and falling asleep?
By sleep. Can you sleep fast?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I haven't done it yet. I'll probably do it in like a bonus thing, but I wanted to have in my comic every like sci-fi device or vehicle has a box somewhere inside it, and it says plot device do not examine.
Beautiful, yes. Like the, oh god, what do they call it? The compensator on Star Trek for
The recoil, or not recoil dampener, the inertial.
The Heisenberg compensator.
Thank you, yes, for the transporters. But yeah, the inertial dampers are also another one of those wonderful hand-wavy tools.
Yep. You just, like, a very careful application of hand wavium goes a long way, but if you're too liberal with it, it becomes hand flailium, which is very dangerous.
You never want to get to the stage where you're just spouting technobabble.
Well, you sound dumber the whole time. It's like, another decision I made was to, like, there's a lot of stuff that you can hide behind it being a trade secret. Mm-hmm. Like, how does the anti-gravity technology in my setting work? It's a trade secret.
No one's allowed to know.
Like, I have a character who actually just says, like, we can't, I don't want to get into the theory, but the important part is electricity goes in, gravity comes out.
I think for most people, that's to do their job. Yeah,
exactly. It's like...
I mean, you might, that's my understanding of a lot of things in the real world.
Yep. So it's realistic.
You're not wrong.
How, like, the internet works or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea how the internet works. But I can utilize it.
I know a lot of aspects of it, but how that then all meshes together into a system is just, I don't know if anybody has a full, image of it.
Given some of the things I've seen tech leaders say in the past year or so, I don't think they understand either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that XKCD with the, like the big pile of Jenga blocks with like the one guy who's been thanklessly maintaining some sort of database.
Yeah, PHP.
Yeah.
That's why I always thought about, like, when Wi-Fi internet became a thing. It wasn't, at least for me, I didn't find it that magical, because we were already at the stage where it was like the entirety of the world's knowledge comes through this little cable, and so taking away that cable and still having access to the knowledge didn't seem that much more unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like I already was like, this is a ridiculous thing that shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I feel really hard for the introduction of Wi-Fi at the WWDC, where they released the iBook and it introduced their Apple's version of Wi-Fi. But then again, I really liked Phil Schiller as an executive. They had him up in the rafters of the event, just sitting there with an iBook, and then they lowered him down on wire work.
That's hilarious.
That there are no wires.
Except for the ones holding him up, I guess.
This sort of continued conveniencing of technology with your every person moving further away from really understanding the fundamentals of how it all works. It really makes me keep thinking that we're getting closer to the inciting incident of blame, which is one of my favorite comics. Because the conceit of that manga is in the future there's this basically a super internet called the Netsphere, which is a system that satisfies humankind's every whim, and you don't need any sort of hardware to access it. Your sort of permission is encoded into people genetically in what are called net terminal genes.
Okay.
And so one day there's an infection that renders the net terminal genes inoperative, and everybody gets thrown out. and they're stuck outside of the system they built because the safeguard measures are so powerful and deadly that nobody can get back in legitimately.
Alex, you don't know how right you are when you say how close we are to that happening. Because just earlier this week, our good friends at Google proposed a new system for providing browser integrity and authentication checking for the internet in order to, make sure that your browser is up to code and not malicious in any way.
Whee!
And I hope you can see how this might turn out to be a bad idea should certain genes or browsers be made unallowed to access the open internet.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really great because the story then takes place actually many thousands of years after this event, where humankind has basically become squatters in their, the remnants of their own civilization. And what's fascinating is that all the automated building programs and machinery just kept going.
Yep.
And then didn't have any direction, so they just sort of
just kept building.
And so,
no!
All the architecture is weird and gotten surreal and kind of.
There's probably just a little bit of data corruption here.
Yeah, exactly. And so that makes the landscape look amazing.
Cool.
And you have great parts where some of the main characters Killy is trying to find the last remnants of the net terminal genes so he can log in and restore access.
It's a root.
And they find all these little sort of encampments of humans that have are eking out almost rustic existences. He encounters this group of people called the electrofishers, and they don't remember why they're called electrofishers.
Oh, I love that.
And they're passing by this enormous structure, and one of the other characters just sort of absent-mindedly reads the corporation logo, and the villagers freak out. They're like, "Oh, you can read it! I told you those were those were letters." And they take her to this place that they've known about for eons, but they don't know what it is, and it's this big plate with writing on it. Mm-hmm. And she looks at it and it's to release safety hatch, turn left, pull out.
Yep. Simple instructions that if you can't read them.
It's so cool. Seriously, read Blame, it rules.
God, that's the whole, this is a message in a system of messages.
Yep.
It's anime as well, right?
They adapted. Okay, so there's a 90s OVA, which is very beautiful but makes no sense.
Here's the thing about Nie.
Yeah. And then there was an adaptation on Netflix that's actually pretty good and does a decent job of shorthanding the first few volumes. So that's worth watching. But the manga is just amazing. That's my recommendation. There's just so much cool stuff, and the sense of scale and duration is so great because it really leans into that sci-fi thing. At one point, the characters get into this elevator, and the next panel, it's so many thousands of hours later. Oof. And if you do the math, they've been in there for 3 months.
Cool.
And even better, they encounter a character at one point who, he emerges from this understructure, and a companion he's with is what the hell? I can't detect the ceiling. There's just nothing up there.
Oh, that's...
And there's one guy there with this weird apparatus doing observations. He's oh, hello. I've been monitoring this here at some point, or just over the millennia, trying to figure it out. It's I hypothesized that this was at one point a storage area, and it's the volume of Jupiter or something.
Oh, okay. So it's not just seeing the sky for the first time.
Yeah, it's just too big.
Because that was a lovely photo to see a few weeks back. was a chimpanzee seeing the sky for the first time after being released from a
Oh, I didn't see
testing
that.
facility. It was heartwarming. Spoiler, you loved it.
Wait, did I install this? I put this in backwards. Son of the bitch.
Oh,
It's okay.
he's got backwards legs.
Wait, isn't that correct?
Sure. Oh, come on. One time. You can do it.
Anyway, I know Paul will appreciate this because Google had put their DRM thoughts into a GitHub repository. As soon as the wider internet found out about it, they started putting in issues and pull requests. And the most recent one that I saw was a single a pull request titled with a single word and nothing in it. And the single word was, don't.
Wait, didn't we do a sketch about that?
About the open internet?
Just about don't.
Oh yes, that I think we definitely did do.
And then that issue gets closed, will not fix.
Yeah. That's... Ooh.
Spawn of Astro says, when I want to cheer myself up, I watch a video of a monkey seeing a magic trick. Ooh, I like that.
Well, I remember the trend on for a while back was playing a trick on your pet in the sense that you would hold up a blanket in front of you, and then hallway, and then you would, just as you drop the blanket, jump to the side so that it looks like you've disappeared, and see what the pet does. And I've seen dogs look very, very confused and a little bit upset, but the cockatoos absolutely lose their mind when you suddenly have your owner, your member of flock, just gone.
I think that this instruction is telling me a little fib.
Oh yeah?
So I'm going to have to go off.
You got another one of the fake instructions?
Yeah, it looks like it's directing me incorrectly.
It's telling you to go to the end of a pier and then just keep walking? It's weird for a model kit to say that, but...
End of a pier. Man, I remember this from my childhood. There's a guy and he got shot.
I'm not Katoki, but let me tell you.
It's not often I get to make a La Jetée reference.
For some reason, the funniest video on animal video, so it's just the 9-second one, and the video is called, manatee hits glass, smushes nose into glass with clown horn.
Yep, that is one of the all-time greatest.
And so you watch it, and you're watching it for however long, and because it's called with clown noise, the anticipatory laughter is so incredible.
Yeah, I bet just the release after that. One of my favorite GIFs online right now is still from the last couple seasons of Mobile Suit Gundam's The Witch from Mercury. And there's a violent girl who just has two giant pom-pom hairs. But the issue is that she's also extremely strong and extremely violent. And a couple of people are telling off her friends. Country bumpkin should just go back to Earth, and she winds up and just socks one of them straight in the face, and they turn off. And someone had the brilliant idea of putting the Windows shutdown noise directly after contact is made, and it's fun to watch a human being shut down.
Yep. Oh boy. Talking of anime,
I mean, we always do. We have to.
I came up with a great idea. Mm-hmm. And by great, I mean a profoundly cursed.
So we're going to Japan to start a studio?
No, not that
Okay,
bad.
good.
I'm not that crazy. Okay, so
I mean, I like money.
I was like, we should watch Nichijou again.
Yes.
I was like, wait, let's make this exciting. Let's make a VLC playlist that's all of Nichijou, all of Azumanga Daioh, all of Lucky Star,
Ooh, okay.
and all of K-On! Random play. Let's go, boys and girls.
You had me till K-On!
Yeah, I know.
unfortunately.
I buy sausage. Oh, there's like an alternate. Oh.
Oh, did you build the alternate and the...
Well, I haven't connected these.
Oh, okay.
I haven't glued them, so I could replace them with like the better spring versions.
What are the little bits on the top of its feet? Those are kind of cool.
Where?
On the ends here, or these bits?
Oh, these little bits sticking up?
Yeah, the bits sticking up. Do they attach to something, or are they just weird little foot things?
I think it's the BSU, the bit sticking up. You know, the BSU unit.
The Proud Boys.
Okay, let's see if I can build this thing if it has all the bits.
I feel like I should explain just in case.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to qualify.
One of the usages of the word proud is to mean standing up from a flat surface.
What?
Yeah. Like if you got a nail that's proud from a surface, you... Oh,
Well, in Japan, you'd hammer it down.
yeah. I mean, you would here too, just...
Is that why it's called being proud? It's that it's a little higher, so you smash it.
Yeah, well, standing proud, I think is part of what that does.
Proud is also a machining and woodworking term, which means like extending further than it needs to.
Ah, no, that's the terminology
same,
I'm using.
Yeah, the same basic idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you now.
Sorry. Yeah, just it has meaning outside of human beings.
I mean, I guess there's a connection there. You know, extending further than it should.
I guess the question is which came first? Pride in the sense of can a piece of machined metal be prideful in addition to proud?
Which came first, the pride or the fall?
Ooh. Pride of the Lions. Hey! I just finished another sprue. One of
So
the
did
tiny
I.
ones.
Yay!
Dang it. I do wish we had more sprue recycling here in Canada, because PLA is so easy to melt down and turn back into new plastics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds recursive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's systems even that can do like remelt 3D printer filament.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, the local hobby shop, not a current sponsor, again, call us, please, does collect their excess PLA for people.
Cool.
And I confirmed with them, and they will also collect your resin scraps on the side. Not for recycling, because you can't recycle the resin, but...
It probably makes great filler. Just
So,
like truck it in a food processor.
oh God, not for the resin. Not for the resin.
I mean, you do it at your friend's house.
Yeah. Your friend who you want to get lung cancer.
Yep.
But talking about the PLA for the other type of 3D printing, what I've seen people do is take the support systems and melt them just a bit with a hairdryer, kind of smush them into proper piles, and they make, once they're spray painted, really good rubble piles.
Ah.
71 part.
Yeah, I knew some folks that were did a lot of model building for like television and stuff, but then on the side, whenever they had some spare time, take a whole bunch of weird offcuts and things, glue them together in a pile, spray paint it black and gray, sell it as Warhammer terrain.
What a hustle.
Probably for at least 2 figures.
Yeah, they made a lot of money on that. Sometimes that's, between jobs, that's what kept things going.
And rightfully so, because it does take work to do that. That's why I haven't done it yet myself. Despite having bags full of support structure from 3D prints that need to go to. Well, we're going to get turned into rubble piles and might just now end up going to BC Hobby.
I like that place.
Those are some nice legs.
Very sexy full.
Yeah. Got a definite sort of ATSD look to them.
I like the ATST. I heard that people are very fond of the new Lichter figure, who also has very nice legs.
Lichter.
From Tyrannids from Warhammer.
Oh, yes.
Lichter damn near killed her.
You get the do-do-do-do-do. Tyrannid leg comes around the corner.
And then like four other legs. Uh-oh.
Brace.
Woo-hoo. Guy's head turns into a wolf.
Okay, and now I need PCG.
That's TCG.
Sorry, PC. No. Too many acronyms. Because remember, kids, we are dealing with PC. The second PC. And PC1. Not confusing at all.
So there's two that are called PC and one that's called PC1.
Yep.
Great.
I hope someone is incredibly proud of themselves for what they've done with the numbering of the sprues in this set, and are cackling at home every night over a big old glass of brandy.
So, like, might that be like the sprues were originally parts of different sets, then they brought them together or something? Like, is that why they could be labeled the same?
I think it's more just that they needed, because PC1 is a smaller sprue, I would bet that it was just a case of, we need this one for, I was going to say for the single polycap systems, but no, this runner is full of 2 A's, 2 B's, 6 C's, and 2 D's.
2 D's nuts.
And then there's, on the regular PCs, you've got 2 of the O's, and then most of the other things are singles except for H, which has 3. So I hope that there is a piece of software that is used by these companies to lay these things out on sprues at least a little bit automatically.
It's like it's going to be, polycap or PC final.
Yeah. Okay, so that side needs to go there. This one has 2 keys on it. And the smaller of the keys goes, I'm going to say up. Sure, we'll call that up. Right, I think I'm going to finish this piece, and then we're going to call that a day here.
Oh, I think I'm going to be finishing this legs on.
Great. We need, right, 08.
Gundam 08?
Which is one of the good ones. Everybody enjoy a happy new year. Here's my O runner.
It's true. When you're building a mech, never forget leg day. Otherwise, your mech just falls over.
Paul, the legs are just for show. The brass doesn't understand that, but they're just completely unnecessary. Always a good day when I can bring that one out as naturally.
Wait, what?
Oh, that was an referenced in the episode where Char gets given the Neo Zeong, or sorry, the standard Zeong, which is a giant mech but has no legs. at that point. Apparently they would be installed later, but one of his lieutenants says to him, "No, don't worry about it. The legs are just for show. The brass doesn't understand that."
Because I guess they're going primarily in space and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh. Oh? Oh. Oh!
It's magic. You good?
Yeah, just the trouble with not being bilingual or just being just the basest level. So I've been saying this whole time, as you can hear me, I'm looking for runner O. Oh, where is runner O? And look back at the sheet. The O I'm looking for is katakana O, not Romaji O. So back to the sprue mines.
Wait, what's... Are they different?
Yes. Hold on. Let me show you the... here we go. This is OO. Okay, let's get it on Alex's cam here so I can... So this is, as you know, as most people would know, the letter O on a sprue. The Roman letter O.
Right.
Notice it has nothing on it. This symbol is the katakana O. Oh, yeah.
Up at the top.
Yeah, up in the top, on top of Alex's, there we are, on the leg. Crossbar with kind of two legs underneath it.
But in the book, it was written like phonetically?
No, it was written with the katakana O, but I just mentally internalized, I'm looking for runner O. So I just kept saying to myself, O, O, O. And why can't I find, because it's not the same O. It makes the same sound. It's not the same one.
So if you didn't know Japanese and were just looking for the shape, you would have been fine.
Probably, actually. Weirdly, that would have fixed it. This is one of those situations where just a little bit of knowledge can get you into trouble. Make sure to sing your alphabet to the end of the song. Ichirite, mini binde, kitegi, deshishite.
That's the alphabet song?
That's unfortunately not the alphabet song. I don't think they had one, or at least
Asugasu paku hatsu, basugasu paku hatsu.
I never learned from the kids a Japanese alphabet song, but that is a song for conjugation of te form of verbs, which is I believe, the intent to do something conjugation.
And to the tune of "Oh my darling Clementine," yeah.
So if the verb ends in I, chi, or ri, it uses te. But if it ends in mi, ni, or bi, or n, then it's de. Ki te, ki gets te, gi gets te.
I would love to know the route that Diddy took culturally to get there.
Right?
We learned, I remember I took German in high school and learned there's a song that it's like the only thing I remember from German, would set to the tune of like "She'll be coming around the mountain," about like what to, you know.
Ich bin kommen on the moon.
Yeah. It's about, you know, ich bin Ausländer und sprechen nicht gut Deutsch. I am a foreigner and I don't speak very good German.
Love it.
Ich bin Ausländer
That's
und
so
sprechen nicht
funny.
gut Deutsch. Bitte langsam, bitte sprechen nicht da langsam, ich bin Ausländer und sprechen nicht, which is, please speak slowly. Please
Take
speak slowly,
anything
please
you
speak
want.
slowly. I am a foreigner, I don't speak very good German.
God, that feels like something, like a scene out of an 80s movie starring the white-haired comedian man whose name I can't remember at this time.
Steve Martin?
Thank you. What the hell? White-haired funny man.
Oh, I see. White-haired funny man here. Glad I didn't glue this in. Get in there.
Oh, this is a complicated part I am putting together right now. And it's,
Sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You've got your own little
Oh God,
issues
did I
going
glue
on.
these? Oh, you dumbass!
Did you glue them?
You stupid ham biscuit.
Oh. Oh no! Is that too late?
It's never too late.
At the very worst, you can drill it out, probably, fairly cleanly.
Just gonna try. There we go.
Good. Good work. Have you ever broken off a,
Foot in someone's ass?
well, I mean, the joint in the foot of a model, but I mean, that's also...
That's cool.
That's sick. Real springs are great.
Where is my paintbrush? There it is.
The reason I ask is because I recently had a model drop off a top shelf, and its foot just broke right off with the ball joint still inside.
Oh,
So I had to end up getting doing a wee bit of drilling into it with a...
I actually
Anyways?
have something Tinker Tailor related that I have to sort of shamefully admit to.
Oh no.
Finally. You know that Topol kit I was working on?
Oh no.
It's toast.
Oh no!
It sort of like fell on my floor and then got scattered several times and was trampled a bunch.
Oh, that's... Oh.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I have bits and pieces of it, so it'll probably reappear somewhere as like parts.
I appreciate the passive voice that was
It became on the floor.
and trampling happened.
Yeah, trampling occurred. God, I'm so glad our fans can't see how I live. Oh, deep shame.
That's why you make sure to not give a trailer or any sort of press photography or whatnot.
Look at those leggies.
That is...
Oh, hell!
Oh, you're very close to done.
I could dry fit this.
Well, then I suggest you do that while I finish up these things here. And, well...
Are those so that on that back piston there has a real spring on it, eh?
Yup.
Oh, that looks so good. 7 goes in here. Oh yeah, this is intricate leg stuff, so I'm not going to be able to get any farther than this tonight. All right, buckle it up. Buckle up, buckle up, buckle up, buckle up. Oh. Well, isn't that a handsome little walker?
I knew that was going to happen.
It's a dry fit.
Yeah.
It's a dry fit, sir, but it checks out.
I was going to clear them.
Cool. I haven't seen my son in years. We'll hang out and eat cheddar cheese.
Let's move,
Dang!
move that
Move
too.
that into the zone of... Hold on.
I mean, almost.
Let's just pull out a bit here, I think. There we go.
Tankety tank.
Looking sweet.
A lovely
Also,
piece of kit there.
please look at that booty.
You go, yeah.
Whoa!
So much going on.
Back it up!
That's where you want to aim.
He's almost like a hermit crab or something. He's got like his whole his whole house on his back.
And honestly, I think of the 2 feet that we've done today, yours are definitely the sexier of the 2.
This is the only time we will allow our fans to pay for feet pics.
Yes. And that end, that's going to do it for Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry for us this week. Alex,
Hi.
where can people find you when you're not here on the Loading Ready Run?
The electric internet. I think there might be a command for my stuff. I spend a small amount of time on my primary Twitter and on my alternate Twitter. I also have a Patreon, a Gumroad, where I sell digital art books and comics, and an Etsy, where I sell T-shirts now.
Fantastic, yeah. Check out Alex's work across the internet.
Thank you.
And of course, if you want to continue to support us here at Loading Ready Run, you can do so over patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, where, again, they will automatically bill your credit card. It's handy. You don't have to think about it. Just don't think about it.
I mean,
And, of course, twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun, youtube.com/loadingreadyrun, store.loadingreadyrun.com, and if you just want to check out everything we do, loadingreadyrun.com has all of the links. So once again, from myself, Alex, and Paul, thank you so much for watching. We will see you in a fortnight, never in Fortnite, ever forward, learning out of spite. Good night.